Well, here's where we're at. We got the other corn planter up and going, and now we're going to take this one up and fill it with fertilizer and seed. But before we do that, I need to hook this hose up. This hydraulic downforce and the fertilizer is run off of the Power Beyond on this tractor. So with it running off of the Power Beyond, you could get air into this system by hooking this hose up. You just let it run for a few minutes with the constant loop hooked up, and then what that does is it rids the air out of the system. You really only need to do that just once it's first hooked up to the tractor for the season, and any time that you unhook it after that and hook back up. So we'll get this hooked in. We'll let this run for a minute. We'll take it up and get the fertilizer filling. We'll get it back into place. We'll shut the tractor off. While it's filling with fertilizer, we'll unhook that loop, and then we'll pull it over and get some seed hooked into it or dumped into it. Now, these two lines on this tractor are identified: red for pressure and black for return. On the 8220, we have both of them identified black, the caps. And I imagine on the 8220 there's probably a P in the casting. I couldn't see it. Well, guess what? I hooked up the hoses backwards. So we'll take this up and get it filled with the essential goodies. Jared's planting with the other one right now. I just took seed to him a little bit ago, and I'm gonna have to take him fertilizer in a little while as well. And that is just going to delay me a little bit. We are going to be using, the one variety that we're going to be using is in bag form, so we're going to have to load bags into this planter. We just had a new Bobcat skid steer dropped off here a little bit ago, so that's going to be our first Bobcat skid steer that we've ever owned. It's a S66. So we're going to see how that works for the dairy operation here. So we'll get this backed into place and get fertilizer loaded here. Alright, so we are direct loading with fertilizer. We'll go ahead and get this tank full. And while we're doing that, while that's filling, we might as well get this hose unhooked here. And we can throw this hose up in the cab so that we have it. We misplaced one of these off the last planter, or out of the other planter, so I had to make one. How many of you guys that have John Deere planters, how many of you guys have misplaced that hose? So that'll get full, and then we'll pull this around. I haven't figured out how I'm going to fill these tanks. If I'm going to use the skid steer and dump the corn into the skid steer bucket, and then dump the bucket into the seed tender, or if I'm just going to lift the pallets up there and dump them in direct. I haven't figured out what I want to do there yet, so we'll get fertilizer filled first, and we'll figure that out. Alright, so we've got fertilizer loaded, but the first bit of seed that we're going to use in this planter is in bag form. I was going to use the, here it's pinched down underneath. I was going to use the fork or the skid steer, dump the bags in the skid steer, and then put that into the seed tender, but that's just handling it too many times. So we're going to just lift the pallet up here and load it in that way. Well, what it does is this does this side of the plant. This seed compartment does the right side, and then the left side does the left. Sprinkle that on, just sprinkle a little bit as I pour. Hold them bags so they don't blow all over hell. Alright, so we ended up dumping in the amount of seed that we need to do what we are going to do. The seed tender, I filled Jared earlier, that is about empty. So I'm going to dump another variety into it. And then we're going to get in here. So. Alright, so we're going to dump a bin of seed or a tote of seed into this seed tender. So we need to cut our zip tie. Oh, that's already cut. No, it's not cut. Alright, so if you pull right up over the side of that front compartment on this side, we'll dump that in there. So what we're going to do is take a piece of masking tape and we're going to identify what's in this compartment so that we don't get confused with what is in there. And then when one of us goes to load this, load seed into one of these planters, we'll know what is in here. Take this. And hey, what does that say on there? What's the 1000 number? 1824?
1582.50. It's a 106. 1582.50.
Okay, 1582. Okay, yeah, right on here, 1582. And what that is how many seeds are in a pound, and then we can set our vacuum accordingly. So I need to jump up on here and pull that lever.
They go forward quick. Alright, that's it. Put this on that one that's this way. The other side. Alright, right on this side. Pull the tape off of that.
Alright, so that is how that is done. We will now fire up. We'll have to load our meters, fill them, and then let it fire a couple times. Make sure we got seed coming out of everything and fertilizer flowing. And then we'll just set it back there. All right, those two totes there are empty. All right, so I have filled the meters, and each row unit, put a little bit in there. Looks like each row unit has spit seed out. So what we want to do now is we want to fire fertilizer. What we got here? Open this. Looks like there's bleed in the system here. It looks like we've got some fertilizer coming out of, yeah, so we're good to go. Fertilizer coming out of the units up front. So we're good to go. Alright. Oh, what I should do is I should shut these tanks off, or shut one off, so that if I park this on a side hill or something, the one tank doesn't overfill the other one. So I just shut that one valve off, and then the tanks can't transfer to each other here. Oh, but it can transfer to this one. Yeah, it can. To pull from one tank for now. So I did have one hose hooked up backwards. It was this vacuum hose. But other than that, we are now good to go. Alright, so we have just pulled out of the dooryard. Everything should be ready to go. However, it is sprinkling a little bit. So we'll just kind of have to see how this weather plays out. That's why we didn't put much corn in the planter, because we don't know how good this weather is going to stay with us, and if it gets raining, we might switch to doing something else. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be no-tilling some. We got about 60 acres to do of this one variety. So that's why we have split the planters up. I'm using a different fertilizer than what Jared is using. Jared is on ground that has had manure applied, and I am on ground that has not had manure applied. He's planting BMR and I'm planting conventional silage. So we'll get the planter in the field and we will get it fired up. We've got to make sure we've got good downforce. We've got to make sure our closing wheel air pressure is correct. I hate powering the planter down in the driveway, so we'll power it down when we get to the field. We need to activate remote 1 in the power down position in order to get the air compressor to fill the air tank. The air compressor is hydraulically driven, and the only time the air compressor works is when SCV1 or the SCV that you use to raise and lower the planter is powered in the down position. So we'll get started here. We'll be to the field in just a few minutes. Alright, so we are right at it. It's sprinkling a little bit, and I don't know if it's going to allow, if the weather's going to allow us to stay going here or not. But this is a no-till operation here. And so far everything's working pretty good, other than the moisture is getting into the top layer and it's making things a little sticky, but it's working. So we're gonna keep at it here. There we go. So everything's working the way it should. Had a little trouble finding the closing wheel page, but we got that sorted, and it is working. This was soybeans last year. And of course it'll get hit with herbicide once we get into the program here. Well, we have done as much as we can do. We're kind of rained out, but not really. We are out of fertilizer in the 2x2 system. This field that we're passing right now is the first field that Jared planted for 2025. The rain is semi-stopped us, hasn't stopped us, but it has stopped us. He is up on, he's only about 1.5 miles from here, up on a hill that's on the other side of them trees. And he has gotten to the point where he can't go any farther. I'm doing no-till, and I don't have, only a little bit of dirt building up on my gauge wheels, but it's not worth it for me to go any farther. So we're gonna clean the packer wheels out and we're gonna call it good. So I've got a freaking telemarketer calling, so let me see who this is. Hello? Alright, so I said hello. Now it's time for you to respond. Do you not want to talk, or are you that fucking dumb? Alright? Fucking speak. Fucking speak. right fucking now, you fucking cocksucker. Fucking goddamn telemarketers. I am fucking so goddamn fed up with you cocksuckers. Alright, so, yeah. You gotta be kidding me. Alright, that was a telemarketer. There's Jared heading on home now. He was up on top of that hill up there. And we are on tandem. One in behind the other here. So I get so goddamn sick and tired of these goddamn telemarketers calling. That was a local number, a 315 number that is local to this area. And I have made the mistake in the past by like being kind of vulgar, like, alright, you cocksucker, go ahead, what the F do you want? And then it's actually somebody we do business with. So, yeah. I think everybody is under the understanding that this is a problem. You'd like to reach through the phone and grab the asshole by the collar or the throat and strangle them, because they cause a lot of problems. So we are going to get both of these units home and clean out I've got to clean out a gauge wheel on this unit, and I'm gonna fill it with fertilizer. I don't think it's gonna rain tomorrow. Maybe it's gonna, I don't know, but it is what it is. So we'll get on after it. That's gonna do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we will catch you at the next one. Thanks for watching, folks.